Okay, in this video, we're going to bring in the scores, the scoring in the game. So we already programmed it, but we need to actually display it. Okay, so we're going to create two new actors here. So the first one we're going to call basically display score. Okay, the second one is just going to be a generic display, okay, which is basically static text on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in that generic display. Okay, and let's drop it, here. You can make it as big or as small as you want. Doesn't really matter at this point. Okay, and for the which one's this one? That was generic display, and we want the same thing for. Let's bring in the display score. Okay, so we'll fix this in a little bit here. So let's first work with the generic display. Alright, so with the generic display, let's click on that first, generic display. With that, basically we want a couple things to happen. First, we want to make sure that in the actor section here that it's going to be on the screen, so we don't want that to be bouncing around when the ball hits it or the paddle hits it. So we want to make sure we turn movable off for that. Okay. We also want to set the alpha level. Okay, that's the color. Okay, to make sure we set that to 0. Bring that down or just set the alpha to 0. Okay, at that point you'll notice it'll disappear from the screen. Okay, but we wanted to display score, just the word score on the screen. Okay, we want to display score on the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our behaviors and we want to go to display text, come over here, and we're just going to type the word score, colon. Okay, let's bring this down to make that 20, and that's fine. You can leave that there the way that is. Okay, and if we were to run this at this point, you can see score is there. Okay, and it's not bouncing around, so everything is fine right there. All right, so now let's go back to the other one we need to program now, which is the display score, whatever the actual score is. So let's click on display score. Okay, and also the same way we did before, let's go to the physics for the display score, and we are going to turn movable off, set the color alpha to 0. Okay, I'm just going to click on that, hit enter, and then notice it disappears from the screen there. And in the same way, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a display text behavior, but in this case we're going to show whatever the current score is, the variable score. Remember, that's this here game score, whatever that is at the time of the game. So in this case, we're going to get rid of this, hit your down arrow, we're going to do attributes, game level. We want the game level, we have that score attribute. Okay, and that's all we want to do. We're going to just show that score, whatever it is. Okay, and we can bring this down to 20, and everything else we can leave the same. Okay, and let's go ahead and run the game and see what that looks like. So here is our, so you can see we got to adjust that a little bit. You can see the 0 is way off here, and then the score is way over here, and so, but let's see if it works. So yeah, you see our score is adjusting, 10 points for every hit. Okay, so that is all working. Okay. And notice the speed, velocity changes depending on hits and bounces. All that's random on every hit. Okay, and then you win. All right. So they were 21, so 21 times 10 gives me 210, so I know that's working well. Okay, so you can play around with adjusting the spacing between the score and the thing, and basically all you have to do is click on your screen here, and you know these are invisible right now, but you can click and just adjust the spacing between them, you know, and that's as simple as that. So like this here, I'm just gonna, I can bring this over some, all right, and then play around and then hit the play button, and now you see it's much closer, and then I can bring up the height a little bit more so that their centers are the same. So let's say this one is, you know, I can play around with all that. So the X value is 46 there, or the, you know, and the Y is what, 17. So that one is 12. So I can bring this up to 17. Okay. And now if I play that, let's see if it's at least on the same level. Yeah. So that's much better. Okay. And then you can, you know, bring it even closer if you wanted to. So that's pretty much the game. I think there was one other thing to troubleshoot. I think when the ball, because it's bouncing off and coming back, but it's supposed to destroy if it goes past a certain point. So let's see if that's working. Yeah, it's not supposed to bounce off the bottom like that. That's not supposed to happen. So if it goes past a certain point, I think it was a certain amount of pixels it's supposed to destroy. Okay, so that's what we need to work on. All right, I'll see you in the next video.